Reduce, reuse, recycle, I want to say.
So the audit's provided through by the utility company,
Right.
and that makes you eligible for free air sealing based on what I find and recommend. It covers 75% of any insulation measures that I recommend up to $2,000. There's the zero interest heat loan, which can be used for bigger insulation project, can be used for heating systems, upgrading single pane windows, and there's rebates for hot water and heating systems. And the audit itself, there's a couple minutes of questions. Go through the house. Nice new Polaris oil burner.
This is where we save a lot of money right here on the fresh air supply coming in.
Yep.
I also insulated as much of the pipes as I could reach.
Keeping the basement cold and the upstairs warm. This fresh air supply is not drawing air into the house, so it's not pulling cold air through all the cracks and cooling the house. So ceiling's already insulated, rim joist is already insulated. A lot of times what we do is put rigid foam up in the rim joist to air seal it, because you can feel a lot of cold air comes pouring in through here. The heat pump hot water heaters dehumidify as they heat water, with electricity. So if you had an electric hot water heater, that's a great upgrade for a lot of people to just have free dehumidification and half the cost of a normal electric hot water heater.
When we put the new boiler in, we cut down the amount of oil that was burnt before in half.
And it was the two things, it was the upgrade in the heating system and the insulation. The big piece is dry up the basements, air seal and insulate, and we ventilated the roof at the same time. So I'll be coming down here later to do that combustion safety test.
Oh, it's snowing again.
Windows are one of those things that are really important for building performance. Quality of windows and having them fit and seal is a real crucial initial piece. And so low E windows would be really good in the winter time because they'd be stopping radiation heat loss, similar to what a curtain would do. A curtain would decrease radiant heat loss even more. I like to say radiant heat loss, it's kind of like when it's 0 outside and your body is 100 degrees, it's like there's dementors outside sucking the heat out of your body, that it just draws the heat like you're the wood stove and that's the cold person outside getting heated up. It pulls the heat right out of your body. So that's why low heat glass is important and why curtains are effective. And this is an infrared gun, so this is showing infrared heat. And you can see the vertical line studs, they're darker because they're colder, and that the fiberglass insulation is nice and complete right to the top of the wall. It's not settling or sagging. There's no mouse tracks that are going through it. You can see that speaker. It's a bit of a cold spot. There's always cold in the joints. Because of the way the roof hits the top of the wall, you can have infiltration coming in from that joint. So you can see very clear studs are cold and insulation in between them. It's all nice and tight. In the underside, again, you can see some thermal bridging. Can and usually do put rigid foam on the backside of a knee wall so that you would not have that thermal bridging in the knee wall.
And that's my cat Bella.
There's like a little tiny hole right there with some thin spots, again around the sides of the roof, where the wall meets the roof. Sometimes there's a bad baffle in here that cold air comes pouring in. So these slopes look good. We can seal up that slope so that cold air won't be flowing through there. So we're looking at open pink fiberglass vats, and this is a pretty drafty, cool area, and the cold air will definitely sail right through that nice open fiberglass. So to seal it up with rigid foam will really make the fiberglass insulation a lot more effective. Boy, these slopes don't have much insulation in them at all. One nice solution would be to have a dedicated proper vent up here and have it dense packed so that the insulated part, air wouldn't blow through. Currently, air is blowing right through the insulated part of this area of the slope. All right, so we have 6 inches of fiberglass.
Right.
And effectively a couple inches of rock wool. You know, it looks like the surface of the moon right now.
I know.
All cratered and
Oh, wow, look at that.
the air blows right through there.
It's moved around a lot. Could that be from the mice?
Yeah. We might update the gasket. So R50 is stretch code, and we often insulate up to R60, just, you know, because it's just a few more cents a square foot. So I'm gonna do a bunch of measuring and calculating to figure out what we've got. Graph paper, tape measure, calculator. Time to do the combustion safety test, see how many light bulbs we can swap out. Because we're tightening up the house, we want to make sure that that thing still exhausts to the outside. So that's about as efficient an oil burner as you can get. The first thing we checked is to make sure that air isn't blowing out into the house, but it's blowing up the chimney. You can feel. You can use a smoke stick, but you can also just feel cold air going in it. This is carbon monoxide, and at the moment it's reading 10 parts per million carbon monoxide, which is well below the limit we're looking for. Per million, can't do much better than that. When things go wrong, especially if there's corrosion in the stack, but there may be some kind of problem in the boiler itself where exhaust gases are coming out. And they would especially come out in this worst case situation where all the exhaust fans are going on in the house, depressurizing the house. So we're perfect in this case. Do you have a programmable thermostat? So they have 3 outlets that act normally. These green ones are controlled by this. So if you turn off the appliance that's in this, then it turns off these switches. So if you've got an appliance with accessories like a computer with a fax printer modem, then when your computer is either turned off or goes to sleep, then it turns off the others. Small spotlight, candelabra light.
Is it a dimmer? Will it take a dimmer?
Yeah.
Okay, turn it on.
2.5 gallons per minute, and these are 1.75. So even though this was a low flow at the time, it's these are much better.
They did a lot of sealing. Then he put a fan in the door and measured before and then afterwards. He then judged how well the house was sealed. It's made a difference in terms of putting in insulation in the attic, venting the eaves of the roof so we have proper ventilation so that the bedrooms in the summertime are cooler, and it's just a better place to live, cheaper place. We got some money off of the insulation that we had put in. When we bought the house, the second year we replaced the boiler, so we got some money back on replacing the boiler. The energy program paid for some of the insulation. The insulation cost about $100 out of pocket and about a half a day's worth of labor. Well, it's a way of lessening our carbon footprint on the earth. The less energy we require, the less gas and oil needs to be piped out of the ground, and the less CO2 is emitted.
Mass Save pays for 75% of the cost of these measures up to $2,000, and then the rest is covered by the owner. It's nice to work for a company that is in it for their values. We're allowed to do a couple, 2 audits a day, so we get to really spend some time and dig into the house and see what's going on.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. I want to say it again. Reduce, reuse, recycle. We gotta watch what we buy. What's it contained in? What's it contained? Where will it end up? Where will it lie? Can it be changed and used over again? Reduce, reuse, recycle.